Alright, welcome everybody. This is the Vamp and I'm going to do a quick lesson on the ADX chart. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to fire up our first chart. Let's load up a Bitstamp chart. Alright, so we are going to set up the daily and weekly chart. So this is very important. You're really only going to use this chart for the daily and or weekly. You don't really want to break this down into any lower time frames. This is where it is most accurate. You don't want to use it in any higher time frames, once again, because this is where it is most accurate on the daily and the weekly charts. So first thing we're going to do is pop on over here to indicators. We're going to pop on over to indicators. You're going to go to ADX. You can actually search DMI, ADX. It is the highlighted one right here, DMI ADX trend by Trader Robert. You see it's got almost 2,300 likes on it. So this is the one that I use. This is the one that I prefer. This is the one that I like to use because it is the most accurate. I also like to use Bitstamp up here. I like to use Bitstamp because it has a lot of history. So there's a lot of history on Bitstamp, and this also helps me in creating my charts. So what this chart, what the ADX indicator is great for is finding a bottom. So this is great. So the ADX key indicator is equals finding a bottom. So one of the things this thing does absolutely amazing is it helps you find the bottoms, right? And right, this is the bottom of any trend and or a stop and reverse. Now these are major bottoms. I'm not talking like inside of a trend here or inside of a trend here. I'm talking an actual bottom. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go through. We're going to mark out all of our bottoms. I am going to change this up. I'm going to use light blue. So there is a bottom. This would be a bottom. This would be a bottom again, right? And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at this also as a bottom. There you got a bottom. And then you can go on back and just chug your way back. Look, there's a bottom, right? There's a bottom. Okay, and then we can go ahead and we're going to pull this baby all the way back. Let's just go back. We want to find all of our bottoms. And right there's a bottom right there. There's a bottom right there. And let's see what we can find the rest of these. All right, we're going to peel this all the way back. There is a bottom right here. There is a bottom right there. There is the magical baby bull Jesus. Right, and you can see all the bottoms that are here, here, here. All right. So the key to finding all of these bottoms is a basic line in the sand that you're just going to look for, right? So first thing we're going to do is when you come down here, what we're looking for is confluence along the bottom line, right? And now if you take a look at my chart, I've got a bunch of specific numbers laid out. Look, you've got 13.2 roughly. This is a historical support and resistance line, right? This is historical support and resistance, 13.2. You can see where this lays out. Look at all the touches here, touch there, touch there, touch, 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 touch. You get the points. This goes all the way back, and you can see a lot of confluence along this line, especially in the bear market of 2018. So very important indicator line to drop on here. You want to come up here, grab yourself a nice horizontal line. There's your horizontal line right there. I would slap it down there, and this is going to be a horizontal resistance and support level. Next down would be our bear bounce level right here. So this is going to be a bear bounce level. So what happens in the bear bounce level is exactly what it sounds like. These are bearish bounces. We are going to mark these over here in pink. And you can see that this is a bearish bounce, right? So what happens is you come down here. Oh, that's a little low. That was definitely a low one. We'll back that one up. All right, so you see you come down here and you bounce off of these all bearish. That's a bearish bounce, that's a bearish bounce, that's a bearish bounce. And you can, once again, you're going to go up here in, look at that, that is clearly a bearish bounce, clearly a bearish bounce, clearly a bearish bounce, right? So we get the point is all of these are bearish bounces. Now, if we're looking at where we are right now, we can see we have not come down and hit this bearish bounce zone. And this is one of the reasons why at this very moment in time, while we're charting, we're sitting at this 3,300 level, I am and have been looking for a bounce and stop and reverse point. That's one of the things we've been looking at this directly at this time in crypto. Now this video can be watched years later. You're going to go back and hopefully we bounce here. We don't break because I'm still looking for a bounce here. And I'm looking at for my bounce at 3260, 3180, 3050. Those are all my pivot points that I have right down here, including this that'll act as support right here. And now you see one of the reasons why I'm looking for this to bounce also right here. This gives you another great example of why and what I'm looking for to happen in this area right here, okay? Now we're going to go down to the next level. We're going to start looking for our bullish bounces, right? So where are our bullish bounces? We're going to remark these in light blue. Bullish bounce, right? Bullish bounce. This would be a bullish bounce right there. Bullish bounce. Yes, it's undeniable, undeniable bullish bounce. You can actually combine these two together. And then you see we have not gotten down here to the next bounce zone. Now we're looking for a support zone on our purple bearish bounce zone. So we've now outlined, you've got historical support and resistance. As you can see, that is played off multiple times. Now, what we're going to be looking for, if we look for a bounce off here, we're going to look for rejection off the top of this line and then a play back down to the bottom, right? With that being said, we're going to go into our bull bounce 1, and we just marked off bull bounce 1, as you can see, played out on this white line. So there's your white line right there, right? I can actually probably bring that white line up just a little bit. But look at this. Look at how, now look above. You see where every single one of these are. You're going to now be able to line these up, and you see the confluence that plays out. All right. Oh, look. Right. And there it is. There's again. Right. You just keep going back every time you see one of these little things you made. Right. A little squiggle you made. You can easily go down here and you can hunt out all of these bottoms everywhere down here, all the way back through crypto history. So you're able to do a great job discovering. Now, the idea isn't being 100% accurate. You don't have to be absolutely insanely accurate to the dollar. You can ladder into these positions, right? And that's another thing that's critical to trading, is having the confidence to ladder into a position, understanding that where the support is, where you technically are. Now, once you did get oversold in this area, you knew you were getting close, right? We did bounce. We came back down. This was actually a very nice bounce. This would have been a very profitable bounce. But then we bounced down here, hit that 3,100 low, got that 1,000-point run up right there. Beautiful 1,000-point run up off of our gorgeous area, right? Now this would be bull bounce support zone 2. There you hit bull bounce support zone 2. And look at this. Look at how magical this worked out right here, because look at how magical our historical support and resistance line worked. Not once, but it worked twice right in that area. So this historical support and resistance line worked as resistance 2 times right there. And you can see right here how it worked as support just gracefully. Absolutely beautiful, right? Same thing here, same thing there, same thing there, same thing here. It is a beautiful chart with tons of confluence that are on it. This is just absolutely amazing. Love this chart. Love to play with this. So now you can see that what we're looking at here, we've got our support and resistances here, right? We've got our bear bounce zone here, right? And we've got our golden zone down here, getting down into these golden zones down here. And I should actually change the color of this. Right? Change this to like a yellow or something like that. right? Bull bounce 2 area, there you go. Right, so you got bull bounce 1 and 2 down here. So you got, you know, 2 nice golden zones to land down into, right? Bullish bounce, golden zone bounce, and then like anything beyond that is just crazy mayhem. You've only had a couple breakout beyond that to two further deeper levels, and that's only happened twice in crypto history. You got to go all the way back there. That other one is actually, you've had some deeper ones way back to 2013, right? But more recently, you see that they're actually played out. You can get this super ugly deep retrace. Now, during the 2014-15 era, when we had 1, 2, 3, 4. Finally, this is baby bull Jesus right here. So you had a lot of really oversold. Here we've technically only had our very first break. There's our second break, a peak into the third break. I'm still looking for one more downside here before we do get into our I hope this will bring us into our bullish run. All right, but based on the ADX chart, we know that we are not at the bottom. Right? We know where the bottoms are. So it's simple. People are like, well, Vamp, how do you know we're still going down? Well, it's very simple. You just look at the ADX chart, right? The ADX chart clearly says we've gone up, and what goes up must come down, right? So there was our run up. Beautiful run up, 1,000 points. Now we're coming down, and and this is just, it's so easy to look at this chart. Now, can you bounce around and mess around and bounce back up? Of course you can. Have you hit the bottom? No, you have not. And how do you know that? Because the ADX chart says you have not. Now, here is an interesting fact. If you were to hit a higher high, let's say this went up higher high, how will we know? This is a great way to tell when the bull trend is in. If we were to do something like this, and then this right here, and we were to put in a higher low, right? A higher low right here, and we were to get all the way down deep and bounce out of one of our golden zones, right? This would help us to realize that, hey, we're in a bull run now, right? If this would have happened and this indicator would just all of a sudden take off and then dump all the way down and then bounce, but we're higher like this, then we'll know we're actually in a more bullish situation than we are right now. But the way this looks very bad, simply because when I look at this, I say, right? Lower low, right? That's a lower low on price action, okay? And then let's look at where this was at. Where did that happen? So just roughly in this area, right? This was a little bit, this is a higher low. Okay, but look at this. So here's your lower low on your price action. You have a higher low. Now the issue you have is you now have posted up almost an equal. Oh, sorry. Here, let's do this. So you have almost equal price action, right? You're almost back to zero price action, right? You are literally 200 points off. Your 200-point variable right now. You're almost equal with a 200-point, I should say, differential. In PA, right? You're almost equal in price action, but you've created a higher high, right, on ADX with way more room to drop, right? So here, look at this. You've created a higher high. right? So this is where you were right here. Okay, when you bounced out of this, you've now retraced all the way back down on your ADX chart to your price action. But look at how much of a price differential. So if you fell, you know, if we fall again from here to here, right? If we fall from here to here, I believe we will be greater than a lower low. So I think if we fell from here to here, we would fall deeper than this lowest low, and we would possibly have a higher, so we basically have a higher high with a lower price action, which is bearish to me. So because we would set in a new low, then I will be looking for a bounce. I'm going to be looking for a bounce. So just to make that clear to everybody, I think we're possibly going to bounce off of here, and that would be substantially higher, and also a bearish bounce off of the bearish bounce zone. So another good look at some bearish indicators. As you see, you've had the massive retrace almost to a back to equilibrium. But here over on the ADX chart, you still have a wild swing. You've got a lot of room to go, because you see you're all the way up here. You're way far up here. You're 11.7, almost 12. And in order to come down and just reset this, you're going to have to get down to 9. Any price, I think if this did drop 3 points, you would possibly at least retrace back down to 0, which would be your equilibrium on your price action, which would be 3K. Really tough here, which I think is going to be our pivot point. I think we just got a little bit more to go for our pivot point, but another good way to read this chart, all right? So the ADX chart is actually pretty simple. These are the critical elements. Now, all you have to do is have a good understanding of where these pivots are and what the relevance of these different pivots is. Is it going to be a bullish bounce area or be a bearish bounce area? You see we've marked that. We've also marked the bullish bounce. We've also marked the support areas, right? That is a very significant historic support and resistance zone for us, okay? One of the other critical things when you look into this chart is the crosses. And the crosses of the indicators are also critical, right? And we can go into this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back this up. Now, this is another great example of how to use the indicators. So here we have a bearish cross. So the blue line equals your bear line. Right? This is always the bear line, right? And actually, so bear line, and what I'm going to do is let me put this up here. I should have put this up here in the very beginning. I apologize for that. Blue line equals bear line. Orange equals bull line. And then the green equals the histogram. So that's your histogram line, right? So very critical. Here you have a bull and a bear cross. You have a bull blue bear line and the orange. This is the bull line, bearish cross, right? So you have a bearish cross where your bearish line is descending and it crosses over or on top of your bullish line. And then what you want to do is you can come over here. You're going to line that up. And every time you get this cross, you will see you oftentimes get a very bearish drop right here. Like this, look at this very substantial bearish drop. So you'll see when these lines do cross, you do get, now look, just the opposite applies here. This is a bull cross. So you have a bull cross. What happens when you have a bull cross? There you go, you have bullish momentum, right? And you can just go back down here, right? Bearish cross, there's a bull cross, Whenever you get these bull crosses, you get this beautiful pop up, right? And whenever you get these bearish pops, it gets real ugly. Okay, so when these lines get close to each other and you can see them in transit, it's not like these things are moving a million miles an hour. This is a daily chart, so it does move slowly here. Okay, this chart does move slowly. So as this chart moves slowly through time and these lines get closer together, you can actually get a good idea of what you're looking for, what a possible outcome would be in the near term, right? So you're looking for the near term. Like, look at this mess right here. This is just mess. All right, we're going to explain one more thing. So we've gone over the bull and the bear, both the bull and the bear lines. So we have a good idea, and let me do this. Copy. Okay, we're going to pop one more of these over here. Paste. There's our bullish cross. Okay, so there's our bull cross. There's our bear cross. Okay, now the other thing that's really important to remember besides the crosses is that the way that this plays out, it plays out like a rubber band. So there's almost a kinetic energy that plays out with the bull and the bear bands, right? So if you look here, you see that every single time these want to play back, they want to always come together, right? They always want to come together. And we'll call this just equilibrium, right? These always want to play back to equilibrium, right? They always want to meet in the center. So no matter what happens, the bulls and the bears always want to party in the middle. They always want to be with one another. And one of the things they don't like to happen is look at this rubber band action. So what happens is, as these become pulled apart, right? As you get this stretching, right? Or this, it's almost magnetic. You get this pulling apart. It's like pulling a rubber band apart as hard as you can, right? And what happens is it always snaps back together. You pull it apart, snaps back together. Look, pull it apart, snaps back together. Pull it apart, snaps back together. This just happens over and over and over all through time. They're constantly a yin and yang effect with this. That's all this does. It's just a constant yin and yang effect all the way through. Now, just because you have a super dynamic push in one direction a lot of times, it doesn't mean that you have to have a super crazy pullback in the opposite direction. Because as you see, even though you've been pulling apart, your price action has been falling off to the bearish side. Right, so you see you've been falling off here to the bearish side over time. And what's happened is if you look at this, you can actually see some sort of a pattern start to emerge as you see a descending pattern here. So you can actually see this arrow. So take a look at the arrow. You can see almost a bullish trend of lower and lower and lower volumes. Yes, you got pulled way out of alignment with that giant dump right there. But in the long term, you still see that you do have a trend, right? And there's another trend right there. You see this trend also right here that's playing out, right? It's got high up here. You see the trend, drop, 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 pounce up, drop, 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 drop. And then this trend is actually playing out bearish, where we want the opposite to come true, right? We're looking for the opposite when we come over here and look for a bullish, right? When we want to go over here and we want to start to look for bullish trends, you can see, look at that. That is a bullish trend there, right? Very bullish trend. You start here. This is a bullish trend right there. That's a nice bullish trend there, right? You start those bullish trends and you see then we transitioned over to bearish, and you see how small all this is. Look at these are all higher. Everything is all higher. There's a lot more volume over here. As my chart gets just totally destroyed, you can see that over here This is all bullish. See, look at this. This is all bullish in here. This is all a bullish zone. Okay, and then you get over, and I'm going to go down deeper. All right, we're going to go down deeper. We're going to go here. So look at this. All of these are blue, 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 blue. Right, so I'm going to do this. Blue, blue. Okay, so look at all the blue. Look at all the blue lines. Right, they're all up here. Right, they're all up here. This is where all the blue lines are. Right, it's all up on the top side. Well, we saw a dramatic shift now to where this is where all the blue lines are. Now look at where all the blue lines are. All the blue lines are on the bearish side. So we've gone from all the blue lines on the majority on the high side up here, right? The majority of these blue lines are all living on the high side, and look, to only orange, right? The only thing breaking into this is orange, into this top band is orange. So now you've turned everything bearish, and this should actually be orange because this is bearish, right? So the blues were living up here, the bulls were living the high life up here. Now the bulls are slumming it, and this is, I mean, it just is what it is. So the bulls are down here. The bulls are over here just slumming the crap out of life, right? So not good, right? As you can see, that's just, this is very simple indicator to use, right? Right, very simple indicator to use. You see all the blue lines up here, right? This shows this is all bullish because the bears are getting their pants and their teeth kicked in, right? And then you come all the way over here and you see where the volume is and where all the action is, and you see how everything is just descended into a more bearish pattern, okay? So, sorry my chart is a mess. You're going to have to play through this a couple times, I'm sure. But that's all I've got. All right? Thanks, guys.